Can they defend the Constitution and also endorse Donald Trump?
No.
That we will not see their names on the ballot next year.
People around the country really seem to want a revolution. Also, Liz Cheney makes news. Sandwich monopolies, are they a thing? Abandoned Biden is trending on Twitter, and is Christmas racist? Canada answers that question. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
From the dingier of dingy bunkers, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. On today, it is Monday, December 4th, year of our Lord, 2023. A lot of stuff to catch you up on over the weekend. In case you missed it, protests, calls for revolution around the entire country, but more specifically in Pennsylvania, of all places, which then prompted something that I think is fascinating and that people should be paying attention to. It is this. Oops, excuse me. Let me go back really quick. The abandoned Biden trending topic on Twitter/X. I don't know if people are used to calling it X yet. But Joe Biden, president of the United States, I don't know if you know about this, has been kind of softballing the whole Israel-Hamas war, most specifically because in heavily populated Muslim areas that are traditionally voting Democrat, he wants to make sure that he can still maintain those voting blocks in 2024. Places like Dearborn, Michigan, places like Minneapolis, Minnesota, a lot of places with high-density Muslim populations, Joe Biden has kind of been wishy-washy. Now, the official U.S. stance, I will say, has been good, at least for the most part, of standing with Israel and basically saying, hey, do whatever you got to do to get these people who want to kill you and wipe you off the face of the earth out of your neck of the woods in which you don't feel safe. But at the same time, he's been kind of, again, tiptoeing around it because he doesn't want to upset the population that he depends on to get elected president. The problem is he still hasn't been soft enough with them, and they really are upset about it, so much so that Abandoned Biden was trending on Twitter pretty much all weekend. Now, I want to play this clip for you. I think this is from Philadelphia. I don't actually know where this clip is from, but it is from over the weekend. One of those protests that were calling out the president for not standing with the Hamas fighters, I guess, and saying exactly what Joe Biden was worried about. Watch this, and we'll discuss on the other side. Check it out.
And if Joe Biden thinks that he can use his double speak on our community and come back to us and beg us for our votes, let it be known to all of those, including Joe Biden and all of those congressmen who failed to see our humanity today and who failed to hear our voices today, that we will not see their names on the ballot next year, and we will not hear them when they come calling upon us next year.
Yeah, that's exactly what Joe Biden has been trying to avoid this entire time with not being as harsh as I think a lot of people think he should be on the attacks on Israel. But that whole hashtag Joe Biden, abandoned Biden, again, is a huge problem, not only for Joe Biden, but for Democrats as a whole. I think those districts and those areas that he wants to make sure he maintains are going to be pretty divided. I would imagine that not the entirety of the population in those areas actually believe all of the things that the people that are protesting in the street believe. I would imagine there's a split even within those districts. But at the same time, what the president is concerned about is carrying those districts for his 2024 election. Now, to kind of move on, but also kind of stay similar with that, here's what was going on over the weekend, riots-wise. And when I say they get worse, it is getting worse. Specifically in Philadelphia, there's a restaurant called Goldie's. It's a Jewish-owned restaurant fondly looked upon, at least as I can tell from the internet, by really the community as a whole, not only the Jewish community. Well, on Saturday, I think it was Saturday night, outside of that specific restaurant, there was a mob calling specifically for the owner to be whatever it is that they wanted him to be. Prosecuted, tried, even killed, who knows? But this is a problem that we're seeing all over the place, is people targeting specific individuals because of their beliefs. Now, obviously, this is a blatant and brazen anti-Semitic attack, but at the same time, it shouldn't happen regardless of whether or not the hate has any specific title towards it. This is, again, specifically a Jewish individual, and it doesn't make it any more or less. This overall, what I'm trying to say is this type of thing overall towards any group should be completely and utterly spoken out against by all sides of the political spectrum. Unfortunately, however, it's just kind of allowed, I guess, in some circles. Now, I'm going to play you this clip. There's also, following this is a chant in pen that I feel like we got to get to also. The first one is targeting specific individuals, which is terrible and a big problem. And the second is marching through the streets, chanting something that I feel like is more of a threat to the way we do life, Western civilization, than most threats are. Check this out.
So Goldie, you can hide! We charge you with genocide! Goldie, you can hide! We charge you with genocide! Anti-Mother revolution!
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Chanting "Long live the Intifada." What is the second one? Started off with "There's only one solution, Intifada revolution," which effectively, if you look at it, what it's been used in the context that it is used is, we need to kill all the Jews. Which, yeah, that's a big freaking problem that I feel like is going to need to be dealt with. And the question that I have is, I'm not even going to say the United States, but just anywhere, does a civilization that is governed by a government of any sort put up with that sort of thing when they're trying to run a civilized society? What do they do with that? Do they wait to be attacked as a part of the so-called revolution? Or do they take them at their word, saying, oh, you guys are literally chanting in the street that you want a revolution, and here's what this revolution means and should consist of? And do they take preemptive action? I don't know. What does the United States do? What should the United States do? I guess that remains to be seen, but considering how we've handled things in the past, I would imagine what is going to happen is there's going to be a wait for something terrible to happen and then react accordingly. But despite all of that, oh, by the way, too, yeah, that was, I should mention that the governor of Pennsylvania, Democrat, guy by the name of Josh Shapiro, who is probably also running for president, I think, was really, really quick to speak out against, I think, both of these instances, more specifically the Goldie restaurant where people were gathered outside targeting a specific individual and threatening them. I would hope to see that there are more people speaking out against the craziness that's going on in the streets with the pro-Hamas, quote-unquote, protests that often turn into riots. But at this point, not enough of it. Here is something that gives me hope, though, at least a little bit of hope, especially among the younger generation. I think you see a lot of people on college campuses that are like super pro-Hamas, and they say pro-Palestine, but if you really want to dig into the weeds, they're kind of one and the same at this point. The people protesting in the streets, screaming and yelling into megaphones, if asked in most cases, in a lot of cases, will say, yeah, I think what happened on October 7th was justified or Israel's fault or I could see it coming or something like that without condemning it. Remember, Oakland voted to ceasefire last week. We went big on that story because a city in California told a conflict on the other side of the world how they should resolve itself, while also allowing poop in the streets, crime to run rampant, and not condemning the acts of Hamas on October 7th. But anyways, all that being said, on the campus of Harvard, I believe late last week, some student went into a lecture hall with a megaphone saying, hey, everybody, we're outside chanting and protesting against the genocide, which is not a word that they're using accurately. We're outside protesting. Everyone stand up, come with me, and let's go stick it to the man. This is what happened. This gives me a little bit of hope. Watch the students in this video, and if you're just listening to the podcast section of this, spoiler alert, they don't even budge. They go, all right, I'm sitting here in class. Can you leave, please? Watch this.
All around the area to look out for Palestine right now because Harvard, your school, is complicit in genocide. You're rallying in the Science Center Plaza right now. Stand up right now. Spend 15 minutes of this class for the 15,000 lives that have been innocently slaughtered in Gaza. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free!
It was like one dude in the back, probably who came in with her from the other side of the room, honestly, chanting back. In other words, nobody was following that. And Ryan in the comment sections on YouTube says this, hey everybody, we're going streaking into the quad and through the gymnasium. Which, if you don't know, is a reference to the movie Old School, where Will Ferrell decides that he's going to go streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium, and nobody follows him. Come on, everybody! We're going to go protest the genocide! I don't know what that word means, but we're all really screaming about it outside. Nobody cares, lady. So that gives me at least a little bit of hope in that regard. Hopefully, as you see a lot of wealthy Jewish families pull their money out of insane colleges and universities that have effectively been pro-Hamas, at the very least, at least we see some of the students in there just rolling their eyes at this. I want you to watch this. We're going to complete transition into something else because I thought this was interesting. I sell book. I say crazy things. Liz Cheney, former congresswoman from Wyoming, is making the rounds because she has a new book out. And when you have a new book out and you're trying to sell that book and you've completely switched sides on pretty much the entire sense of your political being, you go and say crazy things on TV. Here is Liz Cheney doing exactly that. She's asked, can you both support the Constitution and support a guy in Donald Trump? And she says, no, you cannot. Watch this.
If a person is a member of Congress and they've sworn an oath to defend the Constitution, can they defend the Constitution and also endorse Donald Trump?
No.
So
it's inconsistent.
They're breaking with their oath by saying they would like him to be the next president.
In my view, fundamentally, there is a choice to be made. You can't both be for Donald Trump and for the Constitution. You have to choose.
It's a lot of people who are choosing Donald Trump.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of people there choosing not to support the Constitution. According to Liz Cheney, if you can't support the former president or the Constitution. Now, I think her point pretty much entirely comes out of January 6th and how he acted on January 6th. I've said it before, I'll say it again, wasn't a fan of how he responded to things, especially day of. That being said, he is a guy. And from what I understand, the Constitution says that the American people have the right. Oh, mosquito. Wow, sorry, that was really random. And if that thing comes back, I don't want it to bite me. We're a live show, baby. That's what happens. But Liz Cheney basically saying, hey, you can't support the Constitution and Donald Trump. Okay, wait. I'm pretty sure supporting a person who is allowed to run for president of the United States is exactly what the Constitution says. So, in what way are you going to make your case that it is unconstitutional? And isn't that treason, by the way? Are you accusing people in Congress of treason? Okay. But again, people say crazy things. I have some level of grace here because people say crazy things when they're trying to sell a book to you. Speaking of people saying crazy things, we can't not talk about this story. Christmas, is it racist? Canada weighs in. And you may be thinking, what? What are you talking about? Canada? Like the government of Canada, or like a small faction of people within the country of Canada? No, not just some offshoot random nonprofit who just yells and tries to get attention. No, like the actual government of Canada. Again, not your BLM type that just scream things and crazy slogans and nonsense, and people say, look, the Americans. No. It'd be like if Congress commissioned something to say something. That is what is happening in Canada. Canada has released a report that should be stunning to many. The Canadian Human Rights take two. The Canadian Human Rights Commission claims that Christianity in practice in Canada is essentially a form of discrimination. In a recent paper, the paper reads, only through better understanding of how religious intolerance takes place in Canada can our legislation, policies, and programs be crafted to address the causes and consequences of intolerance. The Commission claims that discrimination against religious minorities in Canada is grounded in Canada's history of colonialism. They go on. In the discussion, however, the practice of religion itself is conflated with discrimination against the religions. In fact, the paper reads, while religion can be grounds for discrimination, religion is not defined by the Canadian Human Rights Act. It goes on, yada, 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 yada. Here's where it gets interesting. This is from the Post-Millennial, by the way. The way the Commission defines it as discriminatory is because those who are not Christian don't celebrate and do not celebrate holidays as regarded to the Christian calendar. However, the holidays that those people do celebrate are not on the calendar. Okay. Now, I feel like this should just be mentioned, of course. The majority of Canada identifies themselves as Christians. It is a government holiday, and if you're going to say that government holidays shouldn't be based in any sort of religion, the religion of big, overpowering, bureaucratic government should also not be recognized, and you should eliminate all of the holidays, including, and not limited to, all of the holidays, I'm talking about the United States specifically, including and not limited to all of the holidays that celebrate the federal government wanting another paid day off. The paper reads, as non-Christians may need to request special accommodations to observe their holidays and other times of the year where their religion requires them to abstain from work, the paper reads. Basically saying, well, people that don't celebrate Christmas and celebrate other holidays should get the same amount of privilege that Christians get for having Easter and Christmas off. Here's what I say to that. Dear Canada, dear Canadians, if you would like to participate in my new religion that is just started and founded right now, If you come to the Church of Jobob, this sounds too sacrilegious. I don't mean it to be. But if you come to the new religion of Jobobism, I promise you, I would like to inform you that every day that ends in Y is considered henceforth a holiday of Jobobism. Which if you haven't caught that yet, that's all days. Actually, let's say this. Monday and Tuesday, of course Saturday and Sunday as well, are also holidays in the religion of Jobobism. So, protest your government, say that, well, if the Christians get Christmas and Easter, I should get my Jobobism holiday as well, and see what they say. And if they refuse to give you Mondays and Tuesdays off, as in accordance with the ordained Jobobian religion, then you call them racist. They're racist for not giving you those holidays off. Now, I guess the culmination of this is kind of funny. Prime Minister Trudeau was forced, after grilling from the Conservative leader, to admit, obviously, Christmas is not racist. Not according to your own commission, Mr. Prime Minister. That does say, yes, Christmas is in fact racist because of the intolerant beliefs of the majority of the country, I guess. I don't know. The commission says that the issue of the holiday is evidence. The issue with holidays is evidence of religious intolerance. And again, I say to you, according to official Jobobian doctrine, holidays consist of all Mondays and all Tuesdays. So if you're a Canadian and you would like to accept my religion into your heart, you too can protest the government to get your religious days off, your religious holidays off, so that we all can celebrate and you can get a day off of work. And again, if they don't allow you to do that, call them racist and you will be justified, even if you're not a racial minority. We accept all colors and creeds into the religion of Jobobianism, which again grants holidays to everyone on Mondays and Tuesdays. Let's see. Mike, I don't like this. The Church of Jobob has a ring to it. Nope, this is a joke. We're all joking here, Mike. No. I appreciate all the comment section. It's a little bit more difficult. I got to reposition the cameras here. You don't see the back end of the studio. This is the first time we're doing it in this setting, but it's kind of difficult to read some of the comments, so I'm only reading a couple that pop up immediately. So there's that. Is Christmas racist according to Canada? Absolutely. According to Canada, according to this Department of Human Rights or whatever it is in Canada, I've never seen anything more racist than Christmas. Stupid. Just flippin' stupid. Speaking of Christmas and speaking of stupid, I thought this was fascinating. This was a picture that the Bidens tweeted out, or the White House tweeted out over the weekend. If you can see the picture, it is Joe Biden on a stepladder for some reason, which is ill-advised, I think, at his age, and Joe Biden decorating the Christmas tree in the White House. Now, I get it. I understand from their perspective. Yeah, put out stuff that makes them look just like everyone else. But also, the American people as a whole should at least have an understanding that this isn't real, right? Like, we get that this is a photo op, right? Like, shouldn't America collectively understand that? I mean, I thought so, but that isn't exactly the case. There were a ton of people on Twitter/X. George Takei of, what is it, Star Trek? Yes, I know it's Star Trek, but I like to say Star Trek because it angers some people. George Takei of Star Trek fame says this about this photo. This picture speaks volumes of who the Bidens are. Does it? Are we not all on the same page that politicians do photo ops like this? on a pretty regular occasion? Does anybody actually think that Joe Biden is sitting there with Jill and not any of their grandkids for some reason decorating a Christmas tree? Think of it as yourself. If you're 80 years old, are you going to sit there and get on a ladder and decorate a Christmas tree? No. And if you were, wouldn't you at least do it with your grandchildren? If that was the case, if Joe and Jill were sitting with all 9 of their grandchildren, including Navy, decorating the Christmas tree, I'd say, okay, that's at least believable. Because they're going to put on, not the act, they're going to try and be grandparents, I would assume, to their grandkids and decorate the Christmas tree and have fun with the family. But they're the only 2 in this picture. So you're telling me that the ancient president and his wife, with no family incentive in this picture, decided on their own to decorate the Christmas tree. And then just by happenstance, somebody who works in the administration at the White House was wandering through the residence to snap a picture in the candid moments of Joe Biden and Jill Biden decorating their tree. Get out of here with that crap. It's a photo op. We all know it's a photo op. And it's okay that it's a photo op. If reverse this picture. Reverse the picture of Donald Trump and Melania. That's Donald Trump on the ladder decorating Christmas tree, which I don't even think he would do. He's like, I'm not doing that. And Melania is there getting it. Just reverse the situation. And you had this picture posted of President Trump decorating Christmas tree in the residence without his grandkids. I would say, okay, that's fine. It's clearly a photo op. Nobody thinks that this is genuine. And if people that I would tend to agree with politically were saying, look at how genuine and kind-hearted this picture proves Trump and his wife to be, I would say, no, it doesn't. It's a photo op. I'm not saying that they're not nice people. I'm just saying it's a photo op, and we should all know that it's a photo op. And yet you have George Takei saying this picture speaks volumes of who the Biden is. But he's not the only one. This kid, so there's a bunch of like Gen Z influencers that I kind of feel bad for because I don't think they know what they're talking about. They're 20 years old. And you can, people that are like hardcore indoctrinating machines that are in their mid-30s, teaching at colleges, trying to get people to rise up and whatever it is that they're trying to do. I have no problem hurling insults in that direction, more towards the ideology. But the kids that are just like sucked in and probably paid by the DNC, like it's difficult because they don't know any better. But at the same time, if they're putting themselves out there and they're in the adult world, it is what it is. This guy, Victor Shi, said, they are truly one of us, and I love it so much. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, there's no way. Do they not know what a photo op is? People all the way from this kid to the ancient George Takei, do they not know how photo ops work? They have to. And if they don't, I don't even necessarily want to criticize them all that much. I want to sit them down and say, listen, this is not how any of this works. To think that the Bidens were just in the residence of the White House putting up a Christmas tree by themselves, nobody around, and just a White House staffer just so happened to come upon them. That's not how any of this works. That's what a photo op is. Now, there were some people on my side of the aisle, some people that I would tend to agree with, doing things to this photo that I thought were absolutely reprehensible. I will not stand for this type of comedy. And I want to show you exactly what I will not stand for. This is abhorrent. It is horrible that somebody would Photoshop a picture like this. And if you send me this type of picture, I will not show it on this show out of sheer principle. This sort of thing cannot be allowed. I don't know who this disgusting individual was that decided to Photoshop this photo of Hunter Biden in the shot. I believe Zelensky at the top of the tree and Joe Biden holding a bag of money. Absolutely not okay. If you're the type of person that sends me this type of photo thinking that I will think it's funny, I will not. I completely and utterly 100% condemn this type of nonsense garbage behavior. Again, if you're just listening on the podcast, I will also tweet out this photo just so that everyone can see how disgusting it is. To assume that Hunter Biden, if in the White House, which I don't know if he's still living there, would just be walking around in his underwear at the residence. Actually, in all honesty, this is what I would assume Joe Biden would look like at the residence, not on a stepladder. If there weren't a photo op, I would assume this is how Joe Biden dresses. And I wouldn't blame him, honestly. I don't know about the scarf, the sunglasses, and the crack pipe, but again, I will not stand for this type of humor on this show. Disgusting. Keith says this, LMAO, that's the real photo. The other one is Photoshopped. Oh, that's a theory. Is it that this is the real photo, and to curry favor with the populace, Joe and Jill themselves Photoshopped out Hunter Biden, Zelensky, and the bags of money? It's actually a pretty solid theory. I don't hate that theory. Maybe this is the real photo. Maybe I retract my condemnation of what I thought was obvious humor to really be what is actually going on in reality. Maybe that's the real photo. Wow, Keith, thank you for that detailed insight. What are we doing? We didn't get to Sandwichgate. Whatever. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Elizabeth Warren and the fight against sandwich monopolies is a very funny story. We'll talk about it maybe tomorrow. But that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. I don't know. Let me know how you like the kind of the new digs we got going on here. New setup. I think I like it. I think it's workable. I think it's doable. And so, yeah, good times. But that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.